Two teams with some of the biggest problems in the NFL will face off Sunday in the Meadowlands as your 4-8 New Orleans Saints travel to play the 2-10 New York Giants. There. That's your Saints portion of the show today. Instead, how about we focus on some winners? College football is set to celebrate its conference championship weekend, you know. All right. Maybe we'll still spend a couple of minutes on the Saints. Then Gabe and Uncle Big Nick are here to go through the top games as we help you not only enjoy one of football's top weekends, but even maybe make you a few bucks in the process. Well, not according to our recent picks, but you know what I mean. We'll try. Indeed, it is Thursday. Our best bets are next on the Dattitude podcast.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, New Orleans? And hello to my friends elsewhere, everywhere, out there, who finally realize it's time to begin thinking about what to buy your significant others for Christmas. You do realize it's now just 3 weeks away, right? You're welcome. This is Dattitude, episode number 318, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Thursday, December the 5th, 2024. I am your human calendar, Jim Derry. You need to know a day? Just call me. I'll let you know what day it is. Whether you're watching on one of our NOLA.com social media channels or listening on to the Man of the Podcast, as always, I thank all of you for being a part of the Dattitude family. Yeah, some news from this morning. Wife is headed out of town again. I mean, look, I got to say, you know, I've told you this before. If she wasn't Adam Varner, your wife has the gift of you. That ain't good enough, pal. You think that's going to last? You must be young. You way younger than me because that shit don't last. I'm just telling you. So you made me curse already. I usually don't like to say, I get like one or two bad words a whole show, and I don't like to waste them early in the show. You made me waste one already. That's how bad that was. Can't do that. Can't do that. Wifey was on, she's going to Cancun for work. Yeah, I know. Tough assignment. She's got a conference in Cancun. Anyway, she had to stop in Miami. And she texts me. She says, who's number 13 for the Saints? And I'm like, I don't think they have a number 13 right now. They had a number 13. It's a crazy bum. Well, you know, whatever. So I'm like looking. I'm like, let me make sure. I'm like, I don't think there's a number. No, there's not. So I send her a picture of Michael Thomas. I said, this guy? Oh, yes, because everybody's going up to him, hugging him, taking pictures. I said, well, let me tell you what you should do. You should go up to him and say, Derek Carr doesn't suck. You suck. Nah, she wouldn't do it. Good morning, John Pace. Hello there, Rainey. We're going to get to you in a minute. Lousy weather. It's getting better. There's no more rain, Gary. I think the bad part of it is over. However, it's going to be bad for Uncle Big Nick because Uncle Big Nick hates the cold, and he better get his parka out because I just saw some advisory that said in the morning it's supposed to be wind chills in the teens. That'll be fun for a bus stop in the morning. That's Callie. Good morning. And the Who Dat Nation. Jerry is here. You know he would be here. Good morning, everyone. You going to get her a new pair of sunglasses? What? Are you serious? No, you're not serious. Sean, which franchise future is in the worst shape? The Saints or the Pels? That's a good one. That's a tough question, man. I got to say, I didn't think I would say this a few weeks ago. Got to say it's the Pels. Oh, get her new sunglasses for Cancun. Yeah. She's a cheapskate. Like, you go to Walgreens and buy her like a $7 pen. Now, she wouldn't want that as a present, But that's the kind of sunglasses she wears, like, Walgreens or whatever else, something like that. UBN says this weather is BS, and he wants me to keep the heater on in the booth for Shaw tomorrow. He'll be coming on. It's going to be chilly in West Bank and everywhere. I got a email this morning from a regular, TDB, who listens to the show after the fact. He said, so I want to clarify something. He's still listening to Wednesday's show. He listens on Spotify. He heard me say, I did say this. I'm going to try it. Look, my goal is to have this show. I want this to be the live portion of the show anyway, to where it's only on our YouTube page. That's the only place you're going to be able to find it eventually. Not now. We're still on NOLA.com's Facebook pages and that. I may end up getting it to where it's on a Twitter page. We'll see, whatever. But anyway, I didn't make it clear. I meant that's for the live show. The after the fact, you're always going to be able to listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. So you don't have anything to worry about with that. All right. Let's get to enough of my wife and Michael Thomas and that bum. I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I probably wouldn't have said anything, but I might have. It's been the mood. How much coffee I had. Why does that dude keep picking on Derek Carr? I know this is a fairly, like, most of the anti-Derek Carr people, they either aren't here yet or they'll be here tomorrow. They might not be here for the best bet show. I don't know. You could say if you're the anti-Carr folks, you can say you're out there. Why does that dude keep, like, trolling on Derek Carr? He ain't the reason why you're out of the league, dude. You're out of the league because you got hurt every other game or every other day or whatever it was, and all of a sudden you couldn't play him. It wasn't Derek Carr's fault you got hurt. You became a psycho lunatic. Maybe you always were, and we just didn't know it because Drew Brees just carried you along. I have no idea what made that dude so cray-cray. Anyway, that's the Michael Thomas portion of the show. I did put the Saints on here because I thought the spread was interesting. It went from 5 to 4.5. Means it's getting some play on the Giants, and the over-under went up a little bit. Went from 40.5 to 41. But the money line's pretty close to the same. So I think this seems to me like it's more public money on the Giants. I'll give you my official pick tomorrow. I don't know what I like in that game. I still haven't decided what I like. It's definitely not a game I would play. It's not in my best bets, which is coming up in a little bit. Best bets. Uncle Big Nick's already in the green room. Gabe Henderson's going to I told Gabe, give us 2 picks today. He's going to give us 2 picks today. We're talking conference football, college football conference title games. You see 5 of the 6 that we're going to talk about. There's a 6th one on here, Boise State and UNLV. That's actually in Uncle Big Nick's picks. We're going to have that on the screen in a little bit. There are 2 conference championship games that just so happen to be in both Uncle Big Nick's picks and my picks by sheer coincidence. Do we have the same picks? Well, we're not going to give you any spoiler alerts yet. That's coming up. What do you guys like this weekend? What do you think about Saints Giants? Again, I'll ask you for your official predictions tomorrow when Larry comes on the show for his regular Friday appearance. Yeah, he'll be here tomorrow, and we will be doing previews. Derek Carr is ranked 8th overall statistically, and that is with his number 1 receiver not even on this team a month ago, nor is his number 2 receiver here. Carr haters hate stats and facts. Rhetoric is their friend. I don't even always go by stats. Like, I know people like to make fun of me because I'm an anti-analytics guy. Okay. Very anti-analytics. As far as when it comes to in-game decisions. If you need an analytics card to make your decision for you, you're just a crappy coach, in my opinion. I mean, we've been through this before. Somewhere Zach Ewing is listening and screaming on his phone or laughing at me or whatever he's doing. But if you need a flip card to make a decision for you, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be coaching. 44% of the time, you win the game if you go for it. 56% of the time, you don't. I mean, I don't need a card to tell me that. I don't need a computer geek standing next to me. You got to go for it, coach. You got some 5'4" dude who never played football in his life standing next to Dan Campbell or in his ear. Oh, gotta go for it here, coach. It's ridiculous. Don't get me started. But as far as stats go, some stats are useful. And the fact that Derek Carr is 8th statistically and has always been in the top 12 except for 1 year. 1 year wasn't in the top 12. Am I going to talk about signing day? Not really. And I'm going to tell you why, Kyle. I told you yesterday, my favorite time, the best time I've ever had as a sports writer, broadcaster, whatever, is working in high schools, except signing day. I have always hated signing day. It is a pain in the keister. I didn't like signing. I didn't like it when there was one signing day, and I certainly don't like it now that there are 2 signing days, because you know what signing days mean, really? Jack squat. As Gabe and I are 0.0. They could flip tomorrow just because they sign anything. I mean, I guess when you sign the paper, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't even care. This transfer portal stuff and NIL has ruined my opinion on. I mean, I hated signing day before. I think it's even less meaningful now, because if they go there and they don't play this year, they can just go somewhere else after if they want. Not like it used to be. Or am I saying they shouldn't be able to? That's a whole nother story. Maybe we'll do a show on transfers. I think you ought to get. I believe I'm okay with the transfer thing, but I think you should only get one. Maybe if your coach leaves or whatever, or maybe you come up with a way to be granted a second one, kind of like you get a medical red shirt. Maybe. But the fact that you can just go all over the place is absurd. I'm not playing here at Michigan. I'll go to, and you know what usually happens? I'm going on a tangent that I never thought I was going to go on this morning, but you know what usually happens? And you see this all the time because I see it with local prep athletes. They'll sign with like a Michigan or something when they have no business going to Michigan. And I'm not talking about anybody going to Michigan per se. I'm just saying in general. Use LSU, use Alabama, use whatever you want. But they'll go to a Michigan or an Alabama or a Georgia. They're not going to play because they should have never gone there in the first place. And then they'll go to like, I don't know, they'll pick like a Vanderbilt. Okay. They'll take a step down. I don't mean that in a bad way to Vanderbilt alums or whatever. You know what I mean? And then it doesn't work out for them there either, because they thought they should get 60 catches a year and they only got 25 at Vanderbilt. So now the next thing you know, they're at like Southeastern, which is probably where they should have gone in the first place. Happens all the time. Kyle, you're right. I mean, Scott Robley had a good point. The class ranking is irrelevant until the portal is settled. I mean, but this is the kind of thing we do now. These are the immediate reactions that everybody wants. They want this kind of stuff. This is what they want to talk about. They want to talk about top classes. It's just the same reason why, if you go look hard enough, you can find the draft, everybody's draft classes already, 1.0 or 0.0 or whatever. Here's my mock draft we're in December. If you're doing first of all, if you're doing mock drafts, you're just a click whore. Secondly, if you're reading mock drafts in December, you're a moron. I mean, come on. They don't mean anything in April. They certainly don't mean anything in December. Stop doing that. Stop giving these people clicks. They're not worth it. I've gone through, I'm not joking. I have people on X, and I like the platform as a whole. It's my favorite, quote unquote, social media platform. It always has been, really, since I got on it like 10 years ago, because I can find like little short hits of what I want to read. The people that I follow, that's what I want to read. But I have people that are like all this draft predictions. I actually have multiple people. I had to mute them. I couldn't listen to it anymore. You're doing draft predictions of where you think the Saints are going to pick. Who cares? We'll find out soon enough. Oh, but it's fun to talk about. No, it's not. It's dumb. All right, if you haven't figured it out already, you can be a part of the show and tell me I'm dumb. Go ahead. I'll show it on the screen by typing in your comment on YouTube or Facebook. And if you haven't already done so, give us a like. If you're watching on Dattitude Family, give us a like. I don't know why it helps. It does. And if you're watching on Facebook, go find us on YouTube. If you're listening after the fact, find us on YouTube. Subscribe. You'll have access to not just our live shows, which is every weekday, except Tuesday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. You can watch us after the fact. And you'll have access to all of our short takes, which I finally did another one yesterday. I'm trying to get back to doing them every day. It's been crazy the last couple of weeks. I haven't been able to. So trying to get back on that regular schedule. You can also get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. via email, as TDB did, jderry@theadvocate.com. He also said he enjoyed Coach Salt on the show yesterday. I thought yesterday was, we got to do some different things every now and then. You can't just talk about the same things over and over again. Gabe says the draft, it's irrelevant regardless. You're right, until they actually pick. I mean, it's okay to do. I'm okay with mock drafts like when you get to April, okay? You start. I mean, there's really not a whole lot else to talk about. It's baseball's first month. College baseball is getting closer to their conference tournaments. Golf for Uncle Big Nick is kicking into high gear. It's just, I mean, to talk about drafts and anytime definitely before March is silly, in my opinion. It's fun. Okay, well, if you have fun with it, great. Go have fun with it, but I don't want that on my feed. You're going to get muted if you do that on my feed. Before we get to our look at the conference championship games and our best bets, let me continue the story about our friends at Evangeline Securities. We already reminded you it is time to think about your significant other and what she or he might want for Christmas. What about you? Have you been thinking about the best gift you could possibly get this year? Is it retirement? Maybe it's just moving on to the next chapter of your life. Either way, does that involve selling your family-run or privately held business? If so, you're going to want to get in touch with Evangeline's managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will maximize the value for your business, and they do that by scheduling a complimentary valuation. They do it from their home office on Poydras Street, which is about a football field away from the Caesars Superdome. They also have an office in Lafayette, if that serves your needs better. More on our friends later in the show, what they can do for you. But in the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. There you go. Where is it? Where is it? Corey. I'm dumb. I needed somebody to tell me I was dumb today. UBN tells me all the time, except he says it in different ways. Douglas Thornton, good morning. It's okay if you're late. You can always go see what you missed later on. William wants to know, probably answered this already, what do I think it would take to Rizzi to become the Saints head coach next season, in my opinion? Would he have to win out? Well, it's a tough question to answer because I don't think he has to win out to win the job. I mean, 9-8 winning record. If he goes 8-9, I think he's going to be heavily considered. But here's my thing. I mean, I've said this a bunch of times. This is what I have answered already. Maybe not that particular, maybe not that way or what it would take. But I think that this franchise is insanely nuts if they consider Darren Rizzi. No offense. Darren Rizzi may end up being a coach one day. I doubt it, but maybe. And it's nothing against Darren Rizzi. This franchise needs major overhaul. I say that almost every day on this show because think about how they got here, okay? You can only live off, I mean, they've been living on Sean Payton's coattails since even before he left. Think about what he did. Sean Payton probably had his best coaching season that last season he was here. They went 9-8. They had no business going 9-8. And so he left. So they just installed Dennis Allen as the coach. Was it the right thing to do? I mean, hindsight's 20/20. We could all say that hiring Dennis Allen was dumb, okay? But I'm not going to say that because I'm not a hypocrite. I'm going to tell you, and we talked about this with Larry a few weeks ago, about the majority of the people, the majority of Saints fans at the time wanted Dennis Allen to be the coach back when he took over for Sean Payton following the 2021 season, right? So Dennis Allen was the logical choice. He got the job. Again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you that he shouldn't have got the job. Now, I do think they should have gone through a more, let's see, what's the right way to put it? I think they should have gone through a better process. Gabe, is this true? Said I'm sounding like Darth Vader. I think he means Darth Vader, but I don't hear anything. I do have a new setup. I have a new computer that I started using yesterday. If anyone else is, if I have sound issues in the chat, let me know. John read that Rizzi was a finalist for the head coaching position when Allen was hired. You're the second person that's told me that. That suggests the Saints organization already views him as credible. But here, that's a perfect reasoning. Get it. You need to get away from that. You need to get away from the coattails. Exactly, Douglas. Better vetting process, 100%. And that's what they didn't do with Dennis Allen. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite because at the time, I thought the best thing for this franchise was to hold on to Sean Payton's coattails, and so to speak. I mean, you want Dennis Allen to have his own, but I don't think Dennis Allen even started doing his own thing until look, holding Pete Carmichael here as long as they did was terrible. That was the worst thing this franchise could have done. Good morning, Charles. Sorry you're fighting a cold. Hope you feel better. Douglas says younger system from top down. I agree. They need to just clean house. And look, you can't clean house completely, okay? Because you can't just start over with players. You're not going to have 53 new players, okay? It's going to take a while. You don't want to get rid of all of them anyway. You're going to start, and whoever comes in, whatever new coach comes in is going to want his own players, going to want his own finger on the pulse of the team. But I just think that this team is in a place now, it's a perfect time to just start over. Just clean house with the coaching staff. You're not going to clean house with the administration unless Mickey Loomis decides on his own that he wants to. That's the only way Mickey Loomis is going to go. I think I'd be shocked if he comes in after and says, if Mickey says, I want to stay, and Miss Gale says, nah, I think we're going to go another direction. That would shock me. Is it the right thing to do? Probably. I just don't think that's what they're going to do. So we'll see. That is the Saints question of the day. We may come back to Saints a little bit at the end here today. As Charles says, save 5 to 7 players. It's going to be more than that. Clean house includes coaches and med staff. I hate to tell you this, Charles, but again, this is a show we'll get into later. Talk about in the offseason. I just don't see them changing the medical staff. They're not going to do that. I don't think. Not unless some new GM comes in and realizes and talks Muscale into it. But I think there are ties behind the scene. I don't know anything. Just telling you what I see. I think there are ties behind the scene that suggest that there are not going to be changes to the medical staff. Again, and before we move on, Gabe's about to come on. Douglas says one thing he's always hated. Coach gets fired next season. Now he's coaching a new team. He didn't win. That's what got him fired. Another team, they hire him, yet never giving new ideas to play. Yeah, I hear you. Will Dennis Allen get another chance? Not as a head coach, but I would suspect someone will hire him at the bare minimum to be an assistant defensive coordinator, or he might have to be a position coach again first. I mean, when Haslett left, I think he had to be a position coach before he became a coordinator again. I'm fairly certain. Adam Varner wants new blood all around. I mean, I think that's what this team really needs. Whether they're going to get it or not, I don't know. All right, I am going to finish the show with Saints today, but we got to get to what we came here for. And look, some days we're just not going to spend. I've already spent more time talking about the Saints today than I wanted to. because this is a big weekend. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk Saints because it's when Larry comes on Saints Giants. But look, I welcome your comments on all the college football games. If you want to talk Saints again, I'll save 10 minutes for you at the end of the show. We can come back to it. But I want to talk about some college football title games because there are some big ones. Sean, real quick, do I think Taysom's career is over? He'll be 35 in August. Yes, I do. Rich Marciano says the Action medical staff isn't in charge of injury prevention, according to Nick Underhill. I'm going to be nice and say, okay. Sean, Dennis Allen will be the Bengals' next defensive coordinator. That'd be interesting. And Adam, I know you're just joking, but Jim Moore is 88 years old. Yeah. No. Although maybe we can get him on the show again. That would be fun. Okay. Moving on to conference title championship games. We're going to, a couple of these I don't want to go into too deeply because as I said, two of them are in my best bets. They're also in Uncle Big Nick's best bets. Let's bring in Gabe real quick. And this is a fun weekend for everybody. I know you probably enjoy it more than I do because I know you enjoy. Not that I like college football as much as the next guy, but I'm more of an NFL guy. I always have been. But I do find this weekend interesting. And there I will probably spend more time in front of a TV this weekend than maybe I normally would for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, usually you get only a few great college matchups every week with the occasion of the early November weeks. Yeah. But, I mean, now it's just huge matchup after huge matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know,
okay, you can give me your two best bets in a minute, but what, like, of these 6 games, and it doesn't have to be the biggest one, doesn't have to be Texas, Georgia, doesn't have to be Oregon, Penn State. Which of these 6 games are you most looking forward to watching?
Probably SMU Clemson.
Me too.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And this isn't going to be my best bet, so I'll just go ahead and say it anyway. I like Clemson in this game.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say what I like because this is in my best bets. In fact, it is way up there in my best bet, so I'm not going to talk about it. Why do you like Clemson?
I just think that Dabo Swinney does his best coaching job when everyone kind of counts him out. I just think people have forgotten about Clemson, forgot that Dabo Swinney is, for all of his faults and ignoring the transfer portal, is one of the best coaches in the country, as he's proven over the last decade. And, I mean, I think he and his players know it's a win and you're in.
Yeah.
And on that note, I did just want to touch on one thing real quick. I think SMU, no matter what happens in this game, unless they get absolutely blown out, I think they should be in the college football playoff regardless.
They won't be. They're not going to take a 2-loss SMU. I'm not saying whether they should or shouldn't. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. They're not going to take a 2-loss SMU.
I fear you're right, but there is no way that Alabama is a playoff team. No chance in hell.
Here we go again.
No, Jim, come on.
I'm not saying what I think. I'm telling you what's going to happen.
I know what's going to happen. We've already seen it. Alabama's already a playoff team.
I actually think,
but they shouldn't be.
I actually think legitimately South Carolina has a chance to go ahead of them. I really believe that.
No, they don't. I mean, the committee has said as much. It's Alabama. It's down to Alabama or SMU.
I mean, Sean asked, "Do we think 3-loss Alabama deserves?"
Absolutely not.
Do they deserve to be in there?
No,
I wouldn't put them in there.
No.
I would put definitely have South Carolina ahead.
South Carolina's ahead of them. SMU's ahead of them. I think Miami's ahead of them. I
definitely would not put Miami ahead of them.
I would. Jim, Alabama lost to Oklahoma.
I don't care.
Handily. Oklahoma's. We've been talking all year about how awful. We've been talking about how awful Oklahoma is.
I will say this. I don't disagree with that part, but I am one of the people that agree. I believe in what you've done, and I know people hate this, but I believe this. I think what you've done towards the end of the year means more than what you did at the beginning of the year.
Alabama lost 2 weeks ago.
I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying that I think that Miami is a farce. I think
I don't disagree with you. I don't
is a farce.
I don't disagree with you.
Look, if I if I had my picks, if Clemson were to win, if it were up to me, I would probably still take SMU. But I can tell you right now that if SMU wins, only one ACC team would get in.
So do me a favor. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a given. Do me a favor. So there are essentially 5 teams from what I'm hearing, that would get that last spot if Clemson were to win. So it would be down to SMU, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Miami.
Ole Miss is out.
No. Rank those 5 teams for me in order of who you would put in.
Out. Ole Miss is
Ole Miss and South Carolina and Miami are all out. It doesn't matter.
Ole Miss is out because if you look, I put a lot of stock in Las Vegas odds, and I haven't looked in a few days. But the last time I looked, Ole Miss was like plus 2,000 to make the playoffs.
Did you look before or after the rankings?
I looked before.
Go look. Pull them up live while I keep talking. I can almost guarantee you it's down to SMU and Alabama. Because the committee said the other night that the teams that are not playing, their rankings will not change.
Well, they took Alabama's now minus 400, and so is SMU. They're both minus 400. And I'm looking at DraftKings. I probably need to look at a different book while we're doing this. But go ahead, keep talking.
I really think it's down to those two because they have and how they landed on Alabama. And I don't disagree with you in what you said that what you've done for me recently should determine whether or not you get in. And South Carolina is perhaps the hottest team in the country right now.
Yeah.
And if it were up to me, if I'm talking about those 5 teams in this order, I would put them in. I would put SMU in before anyone else. I would then put South Carolina in. Then I would probably go Ole Miss. Then Miami, then Alabama. I think Alabama, out of those 5 teams, I think Alabama is the least deserving. And I think the committee, for some reason, well, we all know the reason. The committee thinks that they're the most deserving.
Yeah, well, you can't even find it anywhere now. So it's like
because it's down to those 2.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't. This is we can go back. It's always the same argument, though. The point is, this is always about money. I mean, this is about money.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I think. I was shocked that, a couple years ago, we can joke about whatever and whether TCU deserved to be in there. And we don't need to revisit that argument. I ended up being right. Sorry, Zach Ewing. But this is different. I don't necessarily believe that Alabama deserves to get in. But this whole 12-team playoff, which eventually will probably be a 16-team playoff, is all about money. It's not. It's a
100%.
So
and I know you
put in. They're not going to want to put in a South Carolina or a team that's not going to make as much money for the viewing public. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. And let me ask you this just before we move on. I know you're not big on the ACC, but if it were up to you, would you put Alabama in over South Carolina, or would you put Alabama in over SMU? Sorry.
No, I would not.
You put SMU in?
SMU deserves to be in there.
Okay. Yeah. I know you don't think much about the ACC, but I do think that a 2-loss SMU team, who their only 2 losses were at BYU and Clemson in the conference final. Let me say this before we move on. I don't think teams should be punished for what happens in the conference title. Yeah. Unless they get absolutely obliterated.
Well, they need to figure out what they're going to do with these conference title games. They make too much money to get rid of them, but at the same time, I'd almost rather see them scrap the, automatic bids or whatever and decide who's in the playoff before the college football championship games, because how much I can't stand Lane Kiffin, but he's right about one thing. I mean, they're going to be teams you might be in a position to where you're better off if you don't make a conference championship game. Like Texas, had they lost last week, they still were going to be in the conference in the playoffs. In the grand scheme of things, they might have been better off now they'll still make it regardless of whether they win or lose. But there are going to be some teams like an Ole Miss, had they not lost that last game that they lost, they would have been in a position to where they would have gone to the SEC championship game most likely. And had they won, they would have been in the playoff. Had they lost, they wouldn't be. Whereas if somebody else would have gone instead of them, they probably still would have gone. So there are going to be times when you don't really want to go to your conference championship game. And that should never be the case. So they've got to figure out a way to change this. I don't know if you move the conference championship games back a week, like make them next weekend, and this weekend you pick I don't know.
My only thing with that is if you look at a team, Arizona State's a good example. Colorado would have been a good example. Indiana would have been a good example. Those teams are 3 teams that I've heard over the last few weeks, and I've said some of it myself. Those are 3 teams that haven't played the strongest conference schedules.
Right.
And so with that resume, they probably wouldn't get in. But if you look at, let's say instead of Penn State, hypothetically, Indiana had the tiebreaker and Indiana was playing Oregon this week, people could look at Indiana and say, well, they don't have a very strong resume, but then this is an opportunity for them to go out and prove their strength. So that's the only reason that I don't think deciding the playoff before the conference championships could work.
There's just got to be a better way. I don't know.
Oh, there has to be. I've always said, and even with this playoff, I mean, I've at times over the last few weeks, I've looked and I've said there's not 12 teams that deserve to play for a national title.
Yeah,
there's really not.
I think I don't agree with you on that, but
we're sitting here debating which 3-loss SEC team deserves the 12 spot.
Well, I will say this.
Alabama does not deserve. If we are having to put in an Alabama team that got shellacked by Oklahoma to give them a national title shot, there are not 12 teams in the country that deserve it.
Here's why I disagree with you on that. Because even though I agree in the grand scheme of things, on my opinion is that Alabama doesn't belong in the top 12. Okay. That's my opinion, although they're going to get in. I will say this. I have no doubt that Alabama has the capability. I'm not saying they will, but they have the capability to make a run and win the thing. I don't think they will, but so that goes against your point of there aren't 12 teams. I definitely, especially in a year like this. Now, some years there will be years when there aren't 12. There'll be some years where there aren't 3 teams that can win a national championship. We've seen that before. I mean, the year when Georgia won the national championship, 2 years ago, there was, the year they wiped the floor with TCU. Sorry to bring that up again, but there was no one that was beating Georgia that year, period. So really, to me, that was the only team that was winning the national championship.
But here's my problem with what you just said.
They can win it.
You are saying that they can win it, and this comes back to this argument comes full circle. So does LSU deserve a shot to be in? Because they can go on a run.
I don't.
They can beat people. They beat Ole Miss. Does Ole Miss deserve a spot? Because they can.
LSU doesn't have.
Okay, Alabama has 3.
Argument whatsoever. There's a big difference between 3 and 4 losses. Huge difference, especially the fact that LSU lost.
Not when you lose to Oklahoma.
Okay, well, I mean, this is silly that we're even arguing that LSU.
I'm just saying, once you open the door to the teams that can win a title, then you're essentially throwing out what happened over the season. Well, Alabama, they lost to Oklahoma.
What happened during the season? Let's be realistic.
Why?
I'm not saying you or I. I'm saying they don't care what happened during the season. It's about money. It's a money grab. That's what this is.
I know it's about money.
Going to watch, and they would.
I know it's about money, but we can't sit here and just say that because a team can hypothetically win a title, they have the talent to win the title, they should be in. Ole Miss, by that logic, you're saying Ole Miss should be in.
No, I'm not saying Ole Miss should be in.
Because Ole Miss can win a title.
No, they can't.
They beat Georgia.
I don't give a rat's ass who Georgia's not winning the title either. I think that Alabama has a better chance to win the national title than Georgia does. That's just my opinion. I don't think Georgia. I
don't think Alabama has a shot to win the title. They could go on a little run, but once they play a good team, I think they're going to get shellacked again.
I think Alabama plays better against good teams than they play against crappy teams. They kind of let their guard down against crappy teams. That's my opinion.
I mean, yeah, well, they've lost twice this season to bad teams.
Oh, they beat the crap out of LSU, and who else?
They beat Georgia because they had a miraculous first half, and Georgia almost came back in the second half. They needed
beat them.
They needed a miracle play to beat Georgia.
But
no, they beat Georgia, but you just said. I mean, we agree. Georgia's not all that good. No, but then they lost. Oklahoma beat the brakes off them, Jim.
Yeah, but see the problem. And look, you see this before. Okay, you see Notre Dame is a 1-loss team that is beating some really good teams, and somehow lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, but that was one instance.
Okay, well,
Alabama's lost 3 times this year.
Okay, well,
Alabama's lost 3 times this year.
But they're the same kind of team, though. They're the same team that they could show up one week and not show up another. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but 1 week is different than 3.
I don't even know what you're arguing right now. You just hate Alabama that much that you.
No, it's not that I hate Alabama. I
don't like Alabama either.
I hate giving these teams that don't deserve chances.
Well, I like the playoff. I like the expanded playoff. I wish it would go to even more. I don't care if 8 teams in there don't have a chance to win, in our opinion. I like it. I'm going to watch it. It's going to make somebody like me watch it more because I got to be honest. I don't give a crap about bowl games for the most part, unless I bet on them. If I bet on them, then maybe I'll watch them. But I got to say, I would rather 12 teams in the playoffs. I would rather 32 teams in the playoffs because it would make me watch it as opposed to the Gasparilla Bowl. I'm just saying that
I'll tell you.
What they're doing now is way better than anything that they've done in the recent past.
I'll tell you, they suckered me in with the home playoff games.
That is wonderful. I love it.
I cannot wait to watch some poor team have to go into Penn State in December.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I agree.
That's awesome. So that's kudos to the playoff team. That's cool.
Or just let's be realistic. This is in the grand scheme of things. This is all.
It's all about money.
Football. It's about money, but it's all about what's better for college football, and they're on the right track. They're not there yet, but they're on the right track. We'll see where it goes. All right.
Well, they'll be on the right track if SMU loses and they put SMU in over Alabama. Otherwise, we'll be going backwards.
All right, we got 2 more minutes. Give me your 2 best bets. Are they on the screen right now, by the way? Are you?
One of them is, one of them is not.
All right, give me the one that is first.
The one that is, I like Texas, Georgia under 49.5.
Okay.
The teams combined for 45 points the first time they played. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. I don't think either offense is particularly rolling right now. They're 9-13-2 in totals this year with the 13 wins toward the under. So I just think this is going to be a really scrappy game.
Yeah.
I think 49.5 is a little too high.
I could see it. I will say this, that seems like a sharp kind of play, especially after Georgia just went however many overtimes and what was that, a 50 to whatever game against Georgia Tech. Corey, look, is Oregon the best team in there right now? Probably, but I just don't think that these playoffs coming up are going to be. I think they're going to be unpredictable. I think that with 12 teams in there, it's not like 4 teams where the best team I think is usually going to come out of there. Mm-hmm. You're going to have some unpredictability in there, and I just think with Oregon having to play 3 games to win it all, I think it's a little bit different. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you the 2 teams I like before we get to my last pick. I like Texas and I like Penn State, especially if Penn State plays. Texas. If Penn State stays at that 5 seed, they're in a perfect position to make a run, because what they'll do is the first game they'll get a home game in December in Happy Valley. James Franklin's only lost 11 times in a decade at home.
Yeah, I just don't trust James Franklin, period.
I believe that's it. Maybe it's the last 9 years, but he's very good at home. And then in the second round, if they win, they play the Big 12 champion, presumably, who would be the so-called worst of the power conference champions. Yeah. And I think that means Penn State's got an easy path to the semis.
Sean Wiss's Arch would play over yours. I don't look. At some point, loyalty will screw you, okay? And I don't disagree. I mean, I think Sarkisian's being loyal to yours because he's been there. I think Arch is better too, but I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know how much better he actually
is. Either way, that's, to me, that's a weakness, and that's one of the reasons why I don't know if I like Texas, because I don't know that the quarterback position is good enough. Although there really aren't a lot of good quarterbacks.
I was going to say I don't know how many quarterbacks are really trustworthy.
There you go. All right, give me your second best bet. We're going to move.
Second pick. There might be some people in the chat that don't like this. I like Marshall +6, and honestly, I like Marshall outright against ULLL. Marshall is the joint best team in the country against the spread, along with Arizona State. And to put it simply, they have a fierce rushing attack that I don't think ULL can stop.
Ooh, you're gonna piss the ooh la la people off. Then
it's okay. I like Marshall.
All right. Well, I kind of do too, but that is not in my best bets. We'll see. So your best bets, go back on the record. You like the Georgia, Texas under 49.5. By the way, Gabe has been kicking all of our butts. He's like 7 out of his last 10. Like Georgia, Texas under 49.5, and Marshall. What's the spread?
6.
Marshall -6.
No, +6.
+6. Sorry.
+6.
+6. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to give the best team against the spread in the country 6 points. I'll take it.
Best team in the country. All right, we'll see you soon. Time to bring in Uncle Big Nick.
Sounds good.
Uncle Big Nick, can we make some picks today? Well, can we please?
Yo, fix yourself. You're a little crooked.
Again.
You're a little crooked.
Oh,
Yeah, the other way. There you go. We want people to be able to see.
it doesn't matter.
The other way. You can do it. There you go. What did your
There
shirt
we go.
say today?
Shooter McGavin.
All right.
Taking my shots and losing.
Dylan,
I forget that y'all. I forget y'all can't hear me when y'all doing y'all thing, and I'm yelling at my computer screen when y'all talking about Bama and the playoff and everything.
Well, Dylan, I don't know if he's being funny, but Dylan Smith says, "How do we feel about Bama getting in?" I mean, I don't necessarily think they deserve to be in, but look, people, it makes it more interesting when they are in. So
Jim,
I'm not a
I know
Bama fan.
You don't watch much college football, I know.
Yeah, I do. Actually, this year I've watched a pretty good bit.
You realize Saban's not there anymore, right? I mean, does the
understand
committee
that.
know that Saban's not there anymore?
I don't think they care. It's Alabama.
Bama is going to get annihilated in the playoff when they meet the right team.
Yeah, but it depends on who they play. And where
Milroe
they
is
go.
so terrible. He's so bad.
At times he's really good.
Yeah, but he can run. If you stop him from running, he can't throw.
I'm just telling you, Alabama has played better against better teams.
This is not.
They're going to get in,
Alabama.
so it doesn't matter what we think anyway.
Yeah, they're going to get in.
Go back to it doesn't make a difference what we think. So we can argue.
Like I said earlier, just cancel the season, put a committee in the room, and be like, "Who do y'all want in?" Okay, we'll put them in.
Yeah, but the whole point is people still want to watch the season.
I love the season, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if I agree with that. If LSU would beat Florida, they might be playing this weekend against Texas. It'd be a whole different story. Anyway, all right, enough of all that. Let's some of these games that you see on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast after the facts, I have 6 of the college football conference title games on the screen. The 6 that I think are the most important or the biggest are the ones that people are going to watch the most. 2 of them are in both of our best bets. So I'm going to leave Tulane and Army off of this. I'm going to leave UNLV, Boise State out of this, even though that's part of the whole thing. Both of those games are Friday. Both of those games are in some form or fashion are in Uncle Big Nick's and mine, our best bets. So we will talk about them when we get to best bets. But the other 4 games, I want to start with Arizona State, Iowa State. If this doesn't look, no offense to either one of these teams, but if this doesn't tell you how far down the Big 12 has gone, that it's Arizona State and Iowa State in the Big 12 title game, then I don't know what does.
I like Iowa State in this game because nobody knows that Iowa State's in this game.
That's true.
I mean, I trust that coach a lot more. I trust that coach a lot more than the other coach, and nobody who's going to watching this other than diehard Big 12 and college football fans.
Gabe said he will.
I'm gonna watch it too. I love Scatterbo, and I think he might run all over Iowa State. But I think Iowa State keeps this close, and I like the over in this game also.
Yeah. Gabe says he loves Scatterbo. I got to put the Christmas lights up, and that seems like the perfect time to do it. I don't give a rat's patoot. I just won't watch it. I have no prediction.
Old to be getting on the ladder.
No, okay. But I am too big to get on the ladder. So if I'm not here Monday, you know that I fell off the ladder or the ladder broke. So
I just picture Clark Griswold on the ladder falling down.
Anywho, all right. This is the big one. This is not in my best bet, so it's not in yours either. We can talk about it. Texas, Georgia. Texas is a -3. It's Gabe's best, one of Gabe's best bets, under 49.5. I got to be honest. I think Texas is going to beat them handily, but I know that's an Aunt Mabel kind of pick.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really close. It's probably going to come down to coaching decisions and stuff like that. I don't know if this analogy is going to work, and I don't know if you feel the same way. And we're talking about starting Arch. I think that it's almost like Chris Leak and Tim Tebow. Remember when Tim Tebow got to Florida, Chris Leak was a starter, but they brought Tebow in.
Yeah.
He ran a bunch of plays, and he kind of got the emotion and got the adrenaline running for the team. I think that Sarkisian is going to have plays drawn up that we haven't seen yet for Arch in these playoffs and this game. So I think he could be a factor in the game. He's not starting him yet because of the loyalty he has to Ewers. Ewers is awful, but both of the quarterbacks in this game are awful. Yeah. So that's why it's hard to pick. That's why I'm not picking a blowout, because it's hard to pick which quarterback's going to screw up more.
I think Beck is way worse than I thought he would be. And he is really, to me, he's the difference on why Georgia has taken a big step backwards, in my opinion.
Correct.
I think Texas is, wins by 7 or 10. I really do. I hear what you say about it will be a fun game to watch, but I think unless the quarterback screws it up, I just think Texas is that much better. And I actually like Texas to win the national championship. That's one of the picks.
I can agree with that.
All right. ACC, that game is actually in our best bets, isn't it?
That's in my best bet too. Yeah.
Actually,
3 of these.
3 of them are in yours. Okay. So I'm not going to. UNLV Boise State is not in my best bet, so I'll talk about this game.
It's in mine. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to say anything. You wait till it comes up in your big bets. Look, I know Boise State is an Aunt Mabel pick here, but I actually like the Broncos here. I just think the running back is just really that damn good. But we'll see. I don't want to get into too much because we're going to talk about it in just a minute when we get into your picks. Randall's here. We'll find out what Randall likes in just a minute.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know you can't wait. Charles, quarterback is overrated. The Georgia quarterback, I mean, so that leaves.
I don't think he's rated.
Yeah, is he?
I think he came into the season as a potential great quarterback, and now it's just everybody knows he's terrible.
All right, Big Ten championship Saturday night, 7:00. This one is interesting. Oregon, Dylan Gabriel has, I think, maybe turned the corner and gotten a little bit better. Penn State. Gabe talks about what happens with James Franklin if he could get a home playoff game. How interesting would that be?
I couldn't disagree with Gabe more about Penn State and this making a run in a home playoff game. Anytime they play anybody with any talent, they're done. I can see them keeping this game close, but Penn State doesn't have difference makers on offense. They don't have a guy that can separate. They don't have a playmaker. They don't have the playmakers that Oregon have. You see when they played Ohio State. They don't have the playmakers. Anytime they play teams where they need somebody to get separation from a defense, they don't have the players. They have Warren. They got to draw plays for him to get open. He's really good. Yeah. But, I mean, it's still – they just don't have the difference makers that you need to win games like this.
He says Gabe says they won't play many good teams in round 1 and 2. I think any team they play is going to be a good team, Gabe. I mean, what are you talking about? I like Oregon in this game. I like Oregon. Again, this isn't one of my best bets, so I might put a couple bucks on it just to have fun with it. But I know that dangling hook will make some people take Penn State, but I just don't think Penn State's that good.
The thing in this game is that if Penn State's going to keep it close, the defense is going to have to keep it close. But I don't think the offense is going to be able to move the ball much. So the defense, I think, is going to get tired. And at the end of the day, it's going to be Oregon running away with it in the second half.
Oregon, Randall likes Oregon, but close. He says it'll be closer than people think it would be. Well, I think people think it's going to be close. So I think
people think Penn State's going to win.
I know a lot of people think Penn State's going to win. I think Oregon wins fairly easily. Not easily, but I think they cover a lot of along the lines of what I think Texas covers by. So I hate that I like 2 favorites here on Saturday, but I like 2 favorites. And again, we'll talk about Gabe likes Oregon here as well. We'll talk about some of the other games again coming up here in our best bets, because I actually have 2 college games in my best bets. I actually got an email this morning that I'll bring along. People asked me, I didn't think anyone would care, but apparently they do. And I've decided to not write my NFL picks column any longer. It's just I got too much to do. So
I was wondering where that was. I looked for it.
For those of you that were wondering, and I actually got some emails and some Twitter. I got some direct messages. So I guess people cared. I'm just haven't had the time. I'm sorry. So something had to go, and it was my NFL picks column. So that's what it's been. There you go. All right. So anyway, I will respond to each person individually as I have, and I just got another one. That's why it came to mind. All right. All right. We're gonna go to our best bets here. By the way, Gabe Henderson with breaking news. All you people who said that Eric Bieniemy should have been Saints head coach instead of Dennis Allen. Okay, well, here you go. Breaking news: Eric Bieniemy has been fired from UCLA as their offensive coordinator. I think his stint as any kind of coach, maybe a quarterback's coach somewhere, but he's
fired him so he could come coach the Saints.
He ain't coaching the Saints. He got to be done. He's gonna be done soon. All right, we did not have.
Amazing what happens when you get away from Andy Reid and you got to call your own stuff.
Exactly. Am I working on getting Dattitude syndicated? I'm not really even sure what that would involve, but I'm kind of satisfied with where we are right now. Let's no is the short answer to that. I'm happy with what we're doing. Gabe says we never touched on Lincoln Riley who could go to UCF. That's a whole different story. We'll talk about that later. All right. The good news is on our picks here, and you see, you got NA last week. We would have both had winning weeks last week. However, we didn't because we didn't have a week. So officially, we didn't have picks. The bad news is, and it's really bad news, the week before that, we were really bad. And so it brought our records down. I am now below 500 for the year. And you are,
terrible.
You know what? For those of you,
worst year since we started doing this.
For those of you who can't see it, I'm just going to tell you it's bad. Okay, I'm one game under 500. I'm 29-30-1. Uncle Big Nick, he needs to have a run here as we go forward. We will be picking all the way through the Super Bowl, but you got a long way to go to make this.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Saying there's a chance, but it looks like I'm going to win this thing again. All right, we're going to start off here with our picks of the week, and your number one pick is. And by the way, it goes by points, okay? So at the bottom here, we start from the bottom. 1 point pick, 2 point pick, all the way to our top pick of the week is worth 5 points. Uncle Big Nick's at 62 in the season. I'm at 93. But your pick, your number one, your 1 point pick of the week, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, under 43.5.
Why is this total so low?
Because
are they going off history? They got to be going off history because these two teams combined for 73 points to last.
I wouldn't touch that with a stick. I'm just saying.
I just think Tomlin wants to keep this thing low. Tomlin doesn't like shootouts. I think last week was out of the norm on both these teams. I think it's back to being AFC North football, ground and pound. Jameis is a national treasure. If anybody, I don't know why people in New Orleans hated him. Treasure. Oh my God, I love that dude. I can watch. If he was mic'd up every week, I'd watch it. It's insane.
He is great.
It can't be an act because if it was an act,
it's not an act.
It's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, people they're just haters. They're just They don't like Jameis, you're a hater.
His video is like the standard video when they do the stats, and he's like all doing all the different stuff. It's insane the way he embraces just the role he has, and I just.
By the way, you said Jameis in the numbers as they always do. You just mentioned Jameis Winston.
I don't understand how you
mention Jameis Winston and they go straight down and they leave for like 5 minutes because they can't stand to hear Jameis Winston, and then they'll come back to see it. Oh, there they go. They dipped again.
I don't understand how they hate that guy. How can you hate that guy?
Anyway, I wouldn't touch this game with a stick. That is a really weird number, especially after.
I just think it's way too low. And who's going to look at this total and be, oh yeah, I want to take the under? That's basically what I'm doing.
Okay, well,
everybody's gonna bet this over.
I don't. Yeah. I kind of don't blame you. All right, close your eyes on this one. Get the Bears +4 against the 49ers. Look, this is solely based off the nothing else but the coaches fired bump. I think if it works for everybody else, it works for the Bears too. You finally got rid of Eberflus. Maybe they'll be fired up. Maybe Caleb Williams will play his best game. If it can work for the Saints, it can work for almost anybody, right? So anyway. Not only that, the Niners are on running backs I never heard of. They're just a banged up group. I don't know that the Niners even going to care anymore.
Yeah,
and I know this line is super low, but I just think
the crazy part is they can still win the division. But what does that matter?
Somebody thinks it was a great pick.
Oh God,
he loves that pick.
Of course he does.
Loves the pick. Charles likes Cleveland, by the way, but he said it'll be close. Kyle likes to pick. So anyway, Bears +4 over the Niners.
Back to that. Where would Cleveland be if they started Jameis at the beginning of the year?
A lot better than a 3-win team.
Exactly.
Just my opinion. So
I like this Bears pick. I mean, San Francisco's they done. I mean, I don't know, but this line seems legit. But San Francisco's been living off reputation all year, and they just haven't been healthy. They haven't been. It's just they haven't been the same team as before.
Charles thinks the Bears will win. The 49ers are broken down.
Oh yeah, they done.
Kyle says Cleveland would be 500 if. What you got going on? You got a wind event going on outside your window?
There's something going on outside my window. I don't know if it's I hope it ain't a tornado whistle, but
man, I hope you're still here before
I
the
don't
end
know.
of the show.
I don't know what it is.
All right, well, hope you're still
I hear
around.
it though.
Yeah, it sounds like it's coming right at you. All right, your 2-point pick is
the show must go on.
There it is. The Packers +3.5. I can tell you right now, I guarantee you Randall will not like this pick. Packers +3.5.
No, Randall lives at Aunt Mabel's house.
Lions.
Eating all her fruitcake.
What you thinking here?
I'm thinking this Detroit injury bug that they have on defense has got to catch up sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I love Matt LaFleur in December.
So do I.
It's a divisional game, close game. Detroit's got to come down to earth sooner or later, and I think Green Bay can get enough stops against the offense to score enough points to win this game.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter tweeted that Detroit has 13 players on defense on IR. The most any other team has is 7.
Okay.
At some point, it's got to catch up to them. And I don't think they can guard all these receivers. Jordan Love's playing better than he has been. I think he's fully healthy. I just like this. I like the 0.5. I like the 3.5. I like everything about this.
I actually like this pick as well. I don't know if I will bet it or not, but it's definitely anti-Aunt Mabel. But the problem is I've been burned bet. I got to be honest. Look, I'll give credit where credit is due. I've been burned a few times. Now, a couple times I bet against Detroit, they've hit. A couple times I bet against them and they hasn't. But I still think if there's going to be a sneak pick out of the NFC, someone that is not named Detroit or Philadelphia win this conference, I still think it's going to be Green Bay.
Yeah, I like that too.
A lot of it is because of their coaching. I predicted Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl back in August, and I'm not going to back off of it now. So, yes, I like this pick as well. All right, my 2-point pick is Kansas City Chiefs -4 against Harbaugh's.
I'm more shocked about this one than I was the other one.
Los Angeles Chargers. The Chiefs have won 18 out of 21 in this series, dating back to 2014. They've won 6 in a row. They've won 13 of those 21 by 6 or more. And a bigger thing for me is that I don't think the Chargers are going to realize how important J.K. Dobbins was to their team. And now that he's on injured reserve, I think the Chiefs, who haven't been playing all that great, are ready to come out and show Harbaugh who is king of this division, because they can win the division with a win here, and I think they win it handily.
I think they win. I just don't think they cover. They never cover. Dobbins.
They've actually been a fairly decent covering team this year.
The Chiefs?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they've been a fairly decent covering team.
That ain't what I've been hearing.
Okay. Well, I mean, tell me what you think about it.
We got to look it up. I think this is going to be close. I don't think there's a big difference. I mean, you say they're going to miss Dobbins. I don't think there's a big drop-off between Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
I think there's a huge drop-off.
I don't think there is. And they got the kid Vidal that's really good. I like Harbaugh coach teams. I just think this game's going to be close. You wouldn't touch my first pick. I wouldn't touch this pick.
Well, I mean, that's why we do this, right? I mean, we don't always see eye to eye, and we might have a game coming up here, a couple games coming up here where we do see eye to eye. But look, I just think I completely disagree. I don't think Gus Edwards is nearly as good as Dobbins. And not only that, Gus Edwards is not a guy that you want to use that often over and over again. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you got Vidal. Vidal's really good.
Really?
Not really good. I mean, he's serviceable.
What makes you say that?
I don't think there's a big drop-off between Dobbins and Edwards, and then I don't think there's a drop-off to where when Edwards would run for Dobbins. I think it's the same thing as Vidal running for Edwards. Like I don't think the drop-off's going to matter. I don't think it's that big of a drop-off like you do.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out.
Justin Herbert's playing really well right now.
By the way, I've been wrong. The Chiefs have not been covering as of late, but they covered 1, 2, 3, 4 out of their first 6 games. They've been struggling ever since. But I just look, like I said, this one's for the division. I really like them here. Oh no, I'm screwed. Randall says Chiefs by 10.
Oh wow, thank you, Randall.
No, I'm really screwed now. Charles says KC can't keep on squeezing by, upset. And
yes, they can. The refs will make sure they keep squeezing by.
They're actually 5-6-1, Gabe. There's a push in there. Just went and looked it up. Anyway, all right, moving on. Your 3-point pick is, we talked about it a little bit before. Now you can talk about it. You're against me here. Again, this is not, it's not one of my best bets. I don't love this at all. But you like UNLV +4 over Boise State. This is definitely a public pick.
Yeah, and everybody's going to love Genty here and think he got snubbed for the Heisman and all that. These teams played already this year.
Yeah.
And at UNLV, this is going to sound better than what it is, but UNLV held Genty. He had 33 carries for 128 yards. Now, I know he had 128 yards.
That's a good
That's good for him.
Yeah.
And they played good defense, and they knew how to shut him down the first time.
Okay.
And I think they're going to better shut him down this time, and this game's going to be close.
All right.
UNLV, I know it's at Boise on the blue field, but this UNLV team is good, and they got a really good defense.
Yeah, I can't watch it.
You know what I heard on the podcast? I don't know if this was true or not, or they were joking, that ducks land on the blue field thinking it's water and break their necks. Like, that's why PETA is against the blue field. Like, they've been petitioning because of that. I don't know how many times that's happened, but if it does, I want to watch it.
I'm going to stay out of the political realm and not say what I think about PETA.
I know, me neither, but I'm just saying that's just crazy if that's actually has happened.
I have a hard time believing that
it may have happened like once or twice, and then people are going to run with it.
It probably never happened, but someone said it happened, and then the next thing you know, PETA is jumping on board. A whole different story. Don't get me started. By the way, Gabe won't want to hear this, but he's saying Genty's going to be the biggest snub in the Heisman since Manning.
Oh my God, no.
Travis Hunter definitely deserves the Heisman, just saying, in my opinion.
If the Heisman goes to the best player in college football, the best player in college football is Travis Hunter.
I completely agree. And even if you don't agree, I don't know how you could say it's the biggest snub since Manning. I mean, we can debate tomorrow. Can't wait. All right, moving on. My 3-point pick. I'm falling for it again. I'm doing it again. Alert, alert. I'm picking the Atlanta Falcons +6 against the Minnesota Vikings. This Falcons team has been terrible. We saw with Kirk Cousins. He can't be any worse than he was last week, right? He's playing
Kirk Cousins revenge game.
Exactly. He's playing against his old team, and this spread just screams to me. This is ridiculous that the Vikings are giving the Falcons 6 points, in my opinion. I think the Falcons win this game outright, but I am going to take the 6 points because I don't have that much confidence. Again, I think Kirk Cousins realizes his job is going to be on the line pretty soon if he doesn't shake it up. Falcons are in a position now where they could have cruised the NFC South title. Now they got to win. They got to win some big games. I like Atlanta here. I like Atlanta to win. I certainly like him to cover.
Yeah, this all boils down to me trusting Cousins over Darnold, which ain't saying much.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is me just thinking out loud or this is true. But isn't Flores better against rookie and like first-year quarterbacks than he is against veterans? Like once people see Flores' defense, like the veterans of Cousins and stuff like that, the only thing that says about that is that Flores knows how to play against Cousins because he was there. So, but he also is going to know his defense. So I think the advantage goes to Atlanta here.
Yeah, and look, we'll see, right? I mean, I just think that if they can't get up for this game and play their best game against the Vikings, Cousins against
this is going to tell you a lot about what this team thinks of Cousins.
I agree wholeheartedly.
If they get up to play for him and play good in this spot, I think they really like him.
I agree wholeheartedly. So we'll see how it goes. What do you think about and look, you always you joke about how it's not in prime time. Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, if he's not playing in prime time,
Yeah, it's something about his. I mean, that record was insane. It wasn't a joke. Like, it was real.
Exactly. All right. Moving on. Your 4-point. Let's see. Wait, we got a comment here. Falcons. Well, Falcons. Sean says Tampa's going to win the division. I disagree. Ryan loves the Atlanta pick. Charles, Minnesota has a better defense. I don't think Minnesota's defense is all that great. It's okay. It's good.
Darnold's
it's okay.
terrible. He's back to being Darnold.
Well, that was my main thing, too. Darnold is turning back into the pumpkin that we thought he would turn into. He has not been great the last 4 weeks or so. All right, moving on. Your 4-point pick. Now, I am picking the same pick. Not the same pick. I am picking the same game. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. And so I'm not going to get into it. I won't tell you my opinion yet. You like Tulane -5 over Army.
Yeah, I love backing good coaches when they get blown out or lose a bad game. And I think Summerall's a really good coach. So I can see Tulane coming out and just killing this Army team. I mean, this Army and Navy team, I fell for the hype in the beginning of the year, but they're back to being what they are. And did you see the stat on Summerall? He played a service academy school 3 times in his
I saw it because you sent it to me.
Yeah, 9 points he's given up in 3 games. So, I mean, he knows how to defend. He knows how to defend this Army team, and I just can't see them losing back-to-back games that they shouldn't.
All right, again, I will save my comments for when it comes up in my pick. And it's not my number 4 pick. It's my top pick, so I'm not going to say anything yet. But my number 4 pick involves a game that Uncle Big Nick has as his top pick, if you understand all that. I love SMU in this spot. I really do. I almost made this my best bet, and it goes against what Gabe was talking about earlier. I think SMU has been so underrated all season long. I think, people, they'll shake that. It's not just Gabe. A lot of people across, they just, no ways SMU can do anything. I love SMU as a surprise pick in these playoffs. They just keep getting ignored, and they keep beating teams. And they've been playing better and better. And I'm telling you right now, I really think they're going to make noise. I don't necessarily know if they're going to win their first round game in the playoffs, but I think they beat Clemson. And I love the -2 here. And I think they go on into playoffs and maybe win a game or 2. And I'm telling you, it's down to like plus 2,500 now. But I think it's worth a couple bucks putting on them. I wish I would have done it when it was plus 6,000 like 2 weeks ago.
I can agree with you here. SMU's overlooked, and Clemson has been so shaky all year. You want to put up my 5 picks so I can talk about it?
Yeah.
And Clemson's been shaky all year. I love the over in this game because of this is the best athletes that SMU's going to see. Clemson has the best athletes that SMU's going to see all year.
Yeah.
So I could see just a shootout. I think 55.5 is a touchdown less than what it should be. Yeah. That's why it's my number 5 pick. I think this should be in the 60s. Clemson has been in a ton of shootouts this year. They don't have a great defense, but they got a great offense, and we know SMU got a great offense. And SMU was doing the NIL before it was cool. So, right. I mean, who got more money than SMU and the all money in Texas to put teams around this team? And they love put kids at a school. And SMU, that area loves having good football teams. So I can see SMU being good for a while. That Jennings kid at quarterback is really good. And
I just think here's one thing. When I picked Clemson earlier this year, Clemson has done extremely well playing crappy teams, in my opinion. But when they play better teams, they struggle. And if you look, they lost to South Carolina. Is South Carolina better than SMU? I don't know. I think SMU is actually better, but they struggled against
Sellers
Pittsburgh.
Had a hell of a game against Clemson.
Well, they struggled against Pittsburgh. They won 24-20. They lost to Louisville.
And SMU killed Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Louisville killed Clemson. So, I mean, you go through, and I just don't think – I think that this is an easy
– If you look at common opponents here, you're on the right side.
And I think that the public thinks that what is Clemson doing being an underdog in the ACC championship game against SMU? And they just don't know anything about it. Every time someone says something bad about SMU, I'll say, how many SMU games did you watch this year? And they say, well, none. Well, I have watched them. I actually enjoy watching SMU games because they kind of got me early in the season. And I remember watching them against Tulane last year and said,
the only thing keeping me off the side here is that Dabo and Clemson have been here before.
Yeah, SMU, but that's just not the same Clemson teams.
It's not. And I totally agree with your pick. I'm just telling you that's the only reason why I didn't go on the side here.
I get you. All right. Well, speaking of sides, I'm on your side. I love Tulane. It's my top pick of the week. To me, Army and Navy are obviously a lot alike in a lot of ways. Now, I know Navy has been playing crappy towards the end of the season, maybe not so much for Army. But like you said, Summerall knows how to play these types of teams. I think Tulane, after last week, I think last week was a huge wake-up call. If Tulane wins last week and this game's at Ullman, this might be a 9 or 10-point spread. Instead, I think you're getting big value of them going on the road. And I get the weather stinks, but I think Tulane will be able to handle it. I think it's a big bounce-back week for Mekhi Hughes. And I think that Tulane actually rolls here. I think Tulane wins by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, I can see that too. Like, I don't think Army's going to put up a lot of points. Army might put up 10, 17 points at the most. I can see Tulane getting to 30 in this game. Like, it's just, I don't understand the line. And I don't know. I agree wholeheartedly. I told you what I think about this game earlier.
Anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
Can I talk about baseball real quick?
Real quick. I
want your opinion on this golden bat rule.
They'll leave us quicker than you talk about James.
This golden bat rule. You gotta hate it. You gotta hate it.
Here's what I think about the golden at bat rule. If they actually institute this stupid thing, I'm done with baseball. And I'm not joking. And I've been a baseball fan since I can remember. I would watch baseball with my grandfather. It was his favorite sport.
It's always been my favorite sport.
It's always been mine.
But if they do this, like that's
I'm done.
Insane. That's so stupid.
I'm done.
I was almost done with it when they got rid of pitchers batting. Now they want to do this.
I can live with with stuff they've done I don't necessarily like. And then other things they've done I didn't think I would like, and it kind of grew on me. I can tell you this golden rule is bastardizing the game, and I will not go for that. So
you might as well play softball.
Dom says he'd be done as well. We wouldn't be Cubs fans anymore. We just wouldn't be baseball fans. So.
I can't cover up my tattoo though. That's the only problem.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you can draw a Niner over it or something.
Why would I want to do that right now?
I don't know.
My leg will fall off if I did that with the way the injuries are going.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, buddy.
Enjoy the weekend.
You too.
Uncle Big Nick, always having fun. What rule? What Charles wants to know what rule we're talking about. Well, if you have not seen it, and I thought it was a joke at first, but Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, is actually out there talking about putting in what he calls a golden rule. Okay. A golden rule. This golden rule states that, and I don't know how it would work if the person's up in the next, let's just say whatever you want. It's the bottom of the ninth. You're losing by a run. You got a man on first. There are 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. One time in the game, at any point, one time in the game, you can call someone that's not coming up at this point and call them up at that. Like, in other words, if you're the Yankees and your 8-hole hitter is coming up, but you want to use Aaron Judge in this spot, but he just batted, 5 spots ago, you can bat Aaron Judge. Yeah, it's dumb. Baseball is that just, to me, it just completely reeks of desperation, right? I mean, nothing reeks more of desperation when you're talking about bastardizing your game than that. Oh, we're going to change our rules. We're going to make it so maybe we'll bring back Joe DiMaggio from the dead. We'll let him bat. What about Babe Ruth? Can he bat? I mean, what are you going to do? You going to let somebody have a golden pitcher rule too? Maybe we'll let Nolan Ryan, 72 years old, but he's in the stands, and you know what? We want him to come pitch for one batter. Come out of the stands, Charlie. Come on, Nolan. Come on, everybody. So stupid. Baseball gets dumber every year. They're losing me. I know they don't care, but you're trying to get the problem baseball has. I'm not going to go off on a tangent because we're going to finish the show with the Saints. But you think you're getting young people to love baseball by doing this kind of crap, and you're not. They don't like this stuff either, and I don't know what you can do to get young fans to love baseball if they didn't play baseball, but this ain't the way. You're not going to get them to watch more, and you're going to get old farts like me to stop watching. Just saying. Because you institute this rule, I'm serious. I'm done. I'll go watch college baseball, and then my baseball season will be over in June, and then I'll just think about football. We told you earlier we would let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can potentially give you the best Christmas gift anyone has ever given you. No, not Wham's greatest holiday hits. There's only one of those albums left, and it's mine, buddy. You can't have it. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Evangeline, what can they give you? They can give you help with the number one question when it comes to whether it's time to sell your family-run or privately held business. How do they do that, you ask? Well, after their complimentary evaluation of your company. If you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process from established private equity funds from around the world. And they'll maximize the return process for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, none with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed and ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. You know what's really important. The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right, as we wrap up the show with some more Saints talk, anybody got anything they want to say? Now is the time. Charles says that is a BS rule. If it happens, he'll stop watching too. Corey, the Golden Bat Rule. It's just what I said. I mean, basically, that's what we're talking about. Go Google it. I'm not being funny here. Check it out. We may talk about this in the very near future, because if it happens, we're going to talk about it, because we'll talk about baseball, and then I'll ignore that baseball exists after we talk about it. Rainy, old farts with money. That I'm just an old fart. I'm not an old fart with money. Oh, you mean the baseball people? Yeah, they're the old farts with money. So they're legitimately talking about, I can't imagine the owners are going to go for this. I just can't imagine they would go for it. I mean, this is just real. There are a lot of stupid ideas. This is pretty dumb. When you think of all the dumb ideas in sports, I mean, I know a lot of you don't like the kickoff rule, but the kickoff rule pales in comparison to what this would do to baseball. Just being able to have whoever you want come up to bat. Hold on, timeout. And then you got to call timeout and say, we're going to use the golden rule. Again, then do you extend it to pitchers at some point? I don't know. Adam Varner asks, I really don't understand the Derek Carr hate. Yeah. Winston's an amazing person with a cannon for an arm, but he isn't a good quarterback. I don't think I agree with that. I'm not saying they should have kept Winston. I mean, look, we talked about this yesterday on yesterday's show. We had this debate. On social media. Sorry, guy. What was it, Gabe? Sorry, guy. If you're coming at me with sorry, guy, I'm just telling you right now. I'm probably not going to read the rest of your comments. I'm certainly not going to read any future comments you have at me, and we're done. I'm not even going to tell you we're done. We're just done. Piss off. If you're a condescending jackweed, you and I are not going to have a conversation. Just saying that. I'm a fan of Jameis. Always have been. I think it's a bum rap. I never understood the continuing and ever-loving hate for the dude. Is he a great quarterback? No, but he's certainly a fun quarterback. And I will say this about Jameis Winston, had he been the quarterback this year. This season definitely would have been more fun. It might have been excruciatingly painful at times to watch, but it would have been more fun. There's no doubt about that. Sean says he thinks the Saints will only win 2 of the last 5 games. I think they win the Giants game this week. Spoiler alert. I'll tell you whether I think they cover tomorrow. I think they win the Raiders game. And I think they might find a way to win one other game. So I said 7-10 to start the season. I'm not going to get away from it now. I'm going to stick with 7-10. We'll see if I'm going to be right. UBN wants to know, where did the golden rule? I have no idea where it came from. Charles says the onside kick is terrible this year. If you tell the other, yeah, but how many onside kicks did we have that the other team didn't know you were going to be an onside? This is the argument about this onside. I actually like the kickoff rule. I think it needs to be tweaked. I think that the intent of the rule was that we'd have more returns, and people are still kicking it out of the end zone because they get it back at the 30. Zach and I have been talking. I think they ought to make it the 40. If you kick it out of the end zone, it ought to come back to the 40. That would stop this crap right now. They would force returns, and I think the rule would be better. As it is now, it's not that great because they're not returning them anyway. But you don't see onside kick that you don't know it's coming. But how many times did you see that a year before this year? 2, 3 times maybe? I don't know. Why not the 50? Because I don't want to. I'm trying to make this realistic. I know you're saying, why not the 50? Why not give them a touchdown? I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm serious. I think that to make this rule work and to make people like it and to get why they came out with this rule, they came out with this kickoff rule so there would be more kickoff returns. It hasn't happened. Where would you place the ball to where they will basically have to return it, have to kick it so it's returned? Where would you have to put the ball without it being a farce? And I think it's the 40-yard line. I don't think it's a farce to put the ball at the 40. That's like kicking the ball out of bounds, right? Something similar to that. You put the ball at the 40, they're not going to kick it out of the end zone. Just saying. I get it, Rainey. Super Bowl 44. Peyton had to announce it. Well, first of all, with these rules, he wouldn't have been able to announce it. You can only do it in the fourth quarter. You're talking about one play in the history of the NFL. Okay? I'm willing to sacrifice one play. Now, do the Saints win that Super Bowl? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I'm not saying you go and change the play now, but going forward in the future, okay, it's just not used often enough. It's the same as drop kick. Do you even know what a drop kick is? Yeah, if you're old, you probably know what it is. Do you understand? How many people out there know that if you fair catch a football, wherever you fair catch it from, you can have a free kick from that spot? In other words, if a team punts with 7 seconds left from their own end zone, I don't remember the last time I saw it used, if ever, but it is a rule. If somebody punts and you fair catch, you get a free kick from wherever the person fair catches from. That is a rule. If you got rid of that rule, would you be upset? No. You wouldn't be upset. You wouldn't even know that it's gone. So this is only a big deal. The onside kick thing is only a big deal to some of you because you just don't like this rule. It's not because you missed the onside kick. Nobody misses the onside kick. It wasn't really a part of the game. Hardly ever. So don't give me that BS excuse. But you got to come with me something better than that. Just say, okay, I don't like this rule. Okay, that's fine. But I'm telling you, I think if you give it a chance and not in this current format where they change where the ball goes to, I think that you will. And if you don't, after a year or two of watching it that way, then we can talk. I'm just telling you, I'm sick of kickoffs going out of the end zone and starting at the 25-yard line or wherever. It's ridiculous. And when you say, we'll go back to the old kickoff rules and still move it to the 40. The reason why they did this is because it is a safety issue. You got elite athletes running down the field at full speed trying to knock a little speedy dude off of his block. And that's why we have this rule the way that it is. Anyway, more on Saints tomorrow. There you go. Just tell me you don't like the rule, Charles. You don't have to give me all this BS excuse crap. I hate that. I hate BS. Well, if you do this, just tell me you don't like it. It's fine. I can take it. I can take that you don't like it. But I don't want BS excuses. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we'll talk about it again in the near future. Who knows? We will be talking about tomorrow again, Saints-Giants preview. I may ask Larry what he thinks about some of these conference title games real quick. We'll see. We also will talk about the top games of the week. We did not talk about the top games in the NFL this week, except the ones that were in our best bets. We hope you can join us when we do that. Preview NFL Week 14. I want to thank Gabe Henderson. I want to thank UBN. I want to thank you for being with us, Dattitude family. A reminder, if you haven't already done so, to give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is every weekday except Tuesday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. By the way, tonight I will be on the Final Bet show on Fox 8 with Garland Gillen. You can check it out if you live in the New Orleans metro area at 10:35 p.m. on Fox 8. It will be recorded. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go record that. So that'll be fun. Tomorrow evening, Shaw and Madison Prep in the Division II Select Semifinals. It is the last game I will broadcast this year for football. It is sad and happy all at the same time. I think there's a chance that we might do a radio broadcast. If Shaw wins, we may try to do a radio broadcast of Shaw's state championship game. We'll see. We've got to get through tomorrow first. Also, with this pod, if you'd rather listen to it after the fact, which many of you do, we're not going anywhere with this. I told you TDB asked about it earlier. This will always be the case. You can always find us wherever you get your podcast, including Apple, Spotify, many more. You can go to our SoundCloud page, which is where the show lives in the audio world. That's where it originates from. You can also find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. Give our friends at the Saints Insiders, give them a check. Check them out. They have their own YouTube page. They're also available at NOLA.com/Saints. We will see you tomorrow with Saints Giants talk. It's supposed to get cold tonight. Get ready for it. Wind chills in the teens. I hit teens. Brr. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.